All right, everybody, welcome back to round 3 here of. Well, it looks like I have round 2 because I don't know how to work this computer.
Not as long as it went as we thought. These
Uh,
guys are ready to go.
Yeah, so it looks like we had just a small dexterity error by Mr. Gorski. So we'll give them a little bit of time if they actually need it.
So we were looking for a good matchup for you guys, but it turned out to just be the undefeated match. We had the other two matches were Control versus Red Green Energy, and
So-
we thought it'd kind of be a little one-sided. So
Either way,
either way, yeah, I think
like-
one deck. It's not really like
can the red green energy deck get there
or not.
or not?
It's like, does he have Radiant Flames? Yes.
Okay, cool. Game 2.
Yeah.
So looks like Chris Gorski went down to 6, scried to the bottom there, and we're gonna go ahead and start this up.
We are firing it up here. Let's
So
see.
we're probably just gonna go ahead and give them an additional minute of start time if we need to because there was a small dexterity error there, and we'll go from there. If that time is needed, then we'll go.
All right, so Troy Taylor off of the veteran motorist.
Yep.
Scrying two. Gonna top one and bottom the other.
So I kind of like that they made Scry an evergreen mechanic,
I like it too. I think it should be just about in every set.
just because it allows us to kind of fix our draw since they're not going to give us one mana cantrips
Right.
anymore, because
Rest in
they
peace. I wish we had them.
basically because they don't want them in modern.
Bring Ponder to modern.
Make Ponder great again.
Looks like we have a Syndicate Trafficker from Chris Gorski. This guy's been an all-star all night tonight.
Yeah, every time it's shown up on camera, it is not shy. Let's just say it that way.
So Troy has a lot of cards to choose from. It looks like with 3 mana, he's gonna drop the veteran motors.
With
I'm
the
guessing
Depala.
this. Depala. I think this veteran motors is gonna turn sideways, right?
Yeah, and DePaula
Pumps the
pumps it
motors,
because
here's a 4/2 coming in.
he is a dwarf.
Oh, Chris is like, nope,
He's
not
like,
having that. We're
nope.
taking care of it now.
I will chump all day long because I do not
It
want to
looks
lose.
like you
to
just
that
drew
card.
another one potentially, or is that a?
I believe that's another one,
I mean,
or that may be the one that gives them 3 guys.
Well, it could be that. It'd be a great draw here, because I mean,
And
let's see what we got.
he's-
Yep. We're gonna get 2 Cerberus to join this guy. My guess is.
Now, if Chris is able to just keep making land drops, I think he has an Angel of Intervention in his hand.
I don't think the red-white deck can deal with an Angel of Intervention.
I don't think so either, especially if it decides to put just 2 counters on herself.
And it has lifelink. Yeah, it's at 4/4 with flying, vigilance, and lifelink. It's essentially better
Well,
than
because of
Addison.
4/3.
4/3.
because
yeah,
it's a
so
2/1.
Right. But it would still essentially be better than Addison in
Right.
this case. All right, let's see. There's a Selfless Spirit for Troy. We're gonna see if he plans to
And
deploy
4
that.
mana comes in.
Oh, Fleet Wheel Cruiser, solid draw here.
I think it's gonna hit for. Oh no, it has. Does it have to be crude in order to get the
So-
bonus from DePaula?
Yes, but no, it doesn't need to be crude. It's just other
When-
vehicles.
When it's a creature. Okay.
Right. So for those of you who don't know, Fleet Wheel Cruiser enters automatically as a creature for the first time it comes down. It's right now a 5/4, I think. With
5/4, and then because of DePaula, it
this, becomes a 6/5.
I think it actually does have to be. I think her ability says crude vehicles.
Okay, then that's the case. Chris Gorski escaping, not having to take too much damage, but still quite the battlefield for red-white vehicles. So looks like Chris does have.
So it should be.
Yeah,
It should be 6 damage for Chris.
maybe it is a missed point of damage.
We'll see how much it actually affects the game.
Chris does have an Anguish Unmaking in hand. Looks like another one of the 3-drop servo guys. Yep, there we go.
Yep.
Join the battlefield. So
I think Chris is just on the. I'm gonna save as much of my life as
Yeah.
I can at the moment.
he's light on land here, but I think if he finds a land for this Angel, there could be a time if Troy's not paying attention, Chris just turns sideways and gets him.
Right. So, I kind of respect Chris just turning sideways. It looks like Chris is looking for another servo token.
Yeah.
For all I care, he could put Charizard out there.
Yep, there we go. He has it. All right, there's a Needle Spires, and what does Troy have for the follow-up?
Looks like 2 mana for a veteran
That's
motorist.
perfect, because that's going to be able to crew the Fleet Wheel Cruiser.
Right, so it's gonna
It's going to
buff it. I think you probably just take the hit from DePaula here.
I agree. Depala is essential, and the
Selfless
Selfless
Spirit.
Spirit. This is tough.
So I think you just take the hit from the DePaula, chump block the Fleet Wheel Cruiser.
Yeah, the motorist is going to crew the Fleet Wheel.
And I think Troy just realized that he missed out on the point of damage earlier.
We'll see if Chris agrees with that and they back it up and make him take a point. But I think it's a little too far.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit too far for that. But I think Chris is he's just gonna chump block DePaula.
Yeah, the 0-1 doesn't, I guess, really add anything to the board.
So
Chris just really needs to find a land though.
But I think you should just there's so much damage coming in from that
I
Fleetwheel
agree.
Cruiser. I think I would rather just take the 3 from the DePaula.
Well, he's got the English I'm making, and I think he wants to use and there's only a stasis snare, but he doesn't have double white. Yeah, this game looks like it may be over here, but we'll see what Chris has.
So Chris, he's really trying to decide what he should be doing here. So the Selfless Spirit isn't really an issue here.
No.
Just because he can't deal with it anyways.
Right.
So the biggest issue here is probably you're just gonna have to wait for that Fleetwheel Cruiser to get manned.
Yeah,
Or it just gets rid of it anyways.
Just pull the trigger,
So-
go down to 5, and we'll see if Troy Taylor has the perfect response to
Right,
take
so
care of
and
this.
there it is. There's that Angel of Intervention, and Chris just missing these land drops is kind of killer for him today.
It really is. This land drop, I think, wins Chris this game, but it looks like Troy picked up a copy of Smuggler's Copter. It's going to join the battlefield.
Right, and that's going to make quick work here real soon, as Troy's probably just going to swing in for 2, bring Chris down to 3, and then that makes the Smuggler's Copter lethal, unless...
I like swinging the team here. I think you want to get as much off the board as possible, because I think Troy maybe recognized that this is a Fabricate deck, and that Angel is the real deal.
Right. I think if you're Chris, you probably just go ahead and
So there, Troy's revealing the top 2 off the Paula's trigger.
Yep.
It's not hit.
It's almost a Goblin Recruiter type,
Right.
or not Goblin Recruiter, excuse me, Goblin Ringleader effect.
Right. It's a very cool interaction on the card.
So it looks like he's going to double block the motorist.
Take care of the motorist, and I think he's just going to chump the DePaula.
Yep.
Because DePaula is a 3-3.
And take the 2 from the Selfless Spirit to bring him down to 3.
Yep. There we go. And let's see if Mr. Gorski can find an answer. Oh, he's got and a Toolcraft Exemplar to join as well.
Yeah, so there's not much Chris can do here. He's going to draw. He drew.
Is that a colorable? Oh, no, it's another. It's a Grasp of Darkness.
It's a Grasp of Darkness, but it doesn't really do anything because there's 2 flyers.
There is 2 flyers.
Yeah, so Chris,
there we go. We're gonna
like I
scoop
said,
it up.
Chris just saw the writing on the wall and just decided, hey, it's probably just better to go to game 2, excuse me.
So just to let everybody know, we will have, if this match ends quick, a modern backup for you guys, and it's looking possible that we'll be commentating the round 4 of the modern tournament. We'll keep you guys posted with that, but I do know we will have a backup modern game for you guys if there is one. If this goes game 2 over, or still even to game 3 and over.
Right.
For you modern fans.
For all you modern aficionados.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what we have in store. We have some Infect. We have some Burn.
I've seen it all. I've seen
Abzan.
There is Abzan, Infect, Death Shadows Aggro. There is Burn. We got Tron in the house. We got Jeskai Control. Tonight, I think there's no repeat decks. I think everyone is playing something different.
So that's kind of neat to have a whole bunch of different decks. Like I said, our format here can be either diverse
it's great.
or no diversity
at
whatsoever.
The NIM, everyone plays a different deck. And then something about these tournaments are just like, you know what? I'm going to play Infect. And then everyone shows up and plays Infect. And then I go home upset because I didn't play Infect.
Well, one, you don't own Infect.
Well, I don't own Infect. That is a slight problem to me not playing Infect. But
and
also I can't
Infect's probably
stand
also
it.
like your worst matchup.
Yeah, it's not great. Jimmy and I figured out we were play tested before the tournament started tonight. For those who don't know, I play Ad Nauseam. If you don't know me, so Ad Nauseam does not have the best matchup against Infect, especially game 1. Game 2 and 3 make it a little better with sideboard cards. But we figured it out over 8 games. I won 1. If you can't do math that quick, that is a 12.5% chance to win game 1. So I'm not saying there's no chance. There's a small chance you can pull it out with that Nauseam game 1, so keep your head up.
So, I typically play a red-white prison deck, which has been more commonly known as Sun and Moon. I hate that name.
I do not like the name Sun and Moon. At first, I thought there was going to be a wheel of Sun and Moon in it, and I was disappointed to find out that was not in the deck.
Right. It could play it, though.
I think it should. That card's great.
So, I do play that deck, and Todd Stevens recently came out with what he calls I guess you call it a sideboarding plan for the deck.
Right. I saw that. It was a huge SCG article because I think a lot of people were just curious about the sideboard strategies for the deck.
I disagree with about 90% of his sideboard strategy.
A lot of it didn't make sense. You know, he really disrespected Chalice of the Void. He does not like that Magic card. He's every single sideboard iteration he made was all four.
Now,
the first 4 cards out.
Now, so since we're talking about Infect, this is actually probably my biggest issue with it, of him sideboarding out Chalice of the Void. Chalice of the Void's like the best card against Infect.
Yes, I mean most of their pumps are one mana.
Exactly. So like the spells that you can't do anything about is their Become Immense.
Right.
Okay, so they have Become Immense. Big whoop.
Exactly.
So, but guess what? All their artifact and enchantment destruction
Vines, Mutagenic, Nature's Claim, Path to Exile, like
everything that you could possibly ever want to counter outside of the Blighted Agent,
right,
is a 1.
So
and guess what deals with Blighted Agent? Turn 1 Blood Moon, because then they don't have a blue source.
Or even just having like. So I mean, the Sun and Moon deck most likely, unless they get like lucky, will lose to Infect game 1. It has an okay matchup, but it's not great.
So I think it is rough, but I think the cards that he said to take out were the wrong cards.
Right, but I guess that's the thing though. Against Infect, when they go if they're on the plate and they go Breeding Pool, Noble Hierarch, and you go Sacred Foundry, Simian Spirit Guide, Chalice on 1.
Yeah, so the only thing that they're gonna do from that point is they're gonna end up having access to their Blighted Agent. Right. So the deck doesn't play any 1-mana removal spells. I get that that's an issue for a lot of decks, and a lot of people are turned off from the deck because of that. But I like it, and as far as that, you have that's 8 slots that you don't have to devote to Path or Bolt.
Right.
To play something else.
Right.
That's a little bit better.
Well, looks like we got game 2 ready to start here. Chris Gorski, unfortunately, on another mulligan to 6.
And I think that's another thing that caused Gorski to have a little bit of issues game 1 was that mulligan to 6.
You know, I noticed whenever I mulligan, I tend to maybe not draw lands every now and then, and I don't think it's something to do with how it's just like draw of the luck and drawing one less card. I think it literally comes down to shuffling. Some people, like myself, aren't the best when it comes to randomizing your deck. Like, obviously, you can't, when you realize you didn't draw lands on your mulligan, it is illegal to pick up your deck and re-spread out your lands. Like, you cannot touch your library once it's set on the table, other than to shuffle it or, like, do the randomization and stuff like that. So when you go to a mulligan, like, you really, like, maybe sometimes if you didn't take the one pile shuffle, you want to knock it out now, see if you can try to spread the deck out a little bit. And, I mean, I'll do what usually Chris does here, is just over and over again, just shuffling like that, try to just even out
So I don't typically, like, just take out all my lands. If after that happens, like, I kind of, like, look at the spread, I'm like, okay, so that's what happened.
I will look to see where it's all piled up and try to focus on
that
repeatedly
area.
Shuffling that area and see if I can get it spread out. It looks like he has a lot better hand here. I'm seeing maybe 1 or 2 lands, one of them being a fast land. I think he's thinking really hard about what he wants to keep it, and he is. He's going to scry 1.
Keeps it on top. I like when they keep it on top.
Yep, and there you go. There's a Concealed Courtyard to start the game, and looks like a Thraben Inspector. All right, so it's a good start for Chris.
So the art for Concealed Courtyard also looks a lot like the Forbidden Sanctuary art.
You know, I don't think they put a lot of thought into their black
and I think lands. I think that actually may be the Forbidden Sanctuary.
Oh, that's not good if that's the case. Oh, that does not have a hologram.
Okay, so
we are going to take that back. It's going to be a Forbidden Sanctuary.
All right, it is. So just like we were saying, I was like, the art looks very, very similar. All the black-white lands
I think it's bad we just missed there wasn't a hologram on that Magic card.
That could have been our mistake, but
we'll see what happens. I think we're going to see a Thraben Inspector this turn there. I think he has also another Forsaken Sanctuary in hand.
But that means he has double black, double white.
Yep. Oh, that's Shambling, man. But much better draw. So Chris is getting the draws he needs for lands, it looks like. And there's the Thraben Inspector to join the battlefield.
And I think Chris just realized, like, oh, wait, that is actually not a come and play tap.
Well, at least we didn't cheat, and that's all that matters.
We did a little bit, but we backed it up, and that's okay.
There's Veteran Motorist.
I think he has the 3-1 in his hand. Again.
Oh, yeah.
as we know, like, that card has just been absolutely insane for Chris.
Yeah, Syndicate Trafficker is an absurd Magic card. I mean, I've not seen Chris crack a clue tonight other than to sacrifice it to Trafficker.
Right. And you would think that he would want a little bit more card draw, but, like, he still has access to a lot of card draw spells that he's probably actually just not playing.
Oh, yeah, so here's the thing. Thraben Spectre going into the red zone because Veteran Motorist wants nothing to do with the 1-2.
He's like, I don't want to die. And here comes a basic
untapped planes.
Oh,
right. This is good. Set up the battlefield. This Veteran Motorist is essentially shut off now from attacking. I mean, I see a Selfless Spirit in Troy's hand, but I doubt he's going to want to waste that spirit to keep, like,
Veteran Motorist
alive to the one servo that's going to block it.
Right.
Oh, is that an Avacyn in another land and one other unknown card in Chris's hand? He may have a good curve here to set up for this game.
And there's a DePaula. So now, here comes this. Now, I think you'd probably just trade off the 2 servos.
Take it now.
Right away.
Kill it now. There you go. That's what I would do. Right off the bat. I mean, you're going to outvalue him overall.
Exactly.
And there's another land. All right, so
there's a concealed courtyard. Yeah. Guess what? He has 3 lands. It's coming to play tapped.
I mean, I like choosing the Sanctuary here.
I think... So I understand why he played the basic planes last turn.
Right.
And that was basically just to make sure that he could play the 0-1 that has Fabricate 2.
Right. And I think that's good there because that forces that block there. But there's a Syndicate Trafficker. Great follow-up. Let's see what we got. And a Gideon's going to join the battlefield.
So Gideon's coming out.
Put out a 2/2 Knight.
So Chris won't have Avacyn unless he draws an untapped land this turn.
Right.
So do you sack the clue here to give the Syndicate Trafficker, just make it a 4/2 now, or do you wait? I guess it's really a tough decision.
I think you wait. And because you're not going to have Avacyn next turn.
Unless you draw
the land, right. Oh, and there's a Plains. So maybe...
No, that's a Blessed Alliance, I think.
Okay, so here's what you do. I think you swing the Trafficker at the Gideon.
Right. You have to force him to block.
And if he doesn't, you sack the clue, take care of it. So, Gideon's off the battlefield.
So he's just going to pass here. He's going to leave up the Blessed Alliance. So...
I think that's okay, too, because, I mean...
So if... So he can escalate it once.
Right. All right, so this makes it tough, though. I mean, Blessed Alliance doesn't get around Selfless Spirit, but, I mean, more than one creature...
2 Selfless Spirits.
I mean, more than one creature are probably going to be attacking if Troy decides to send this Gideon sideways, which he is. I mean, if you're Troy, do you not worry about Veteran... Oh, well, you know what? This is not that great of an attack.
It's not, because now you're going to have to...
Blessed Alliance is going to take care of the soldier. Well, the Knight token.
Yep, exactly. So he's going to sacrifice a creature.
The Trafficker is going to take care of the DePaula.
Well... Unless he decides to sacrifice the Selfless Spirit. So, he's going to...
I think you're fine with that, though.
Exactly.
And that's why Troy, I don't think, plays 2 of them there, because, I mean...
So now he has... So now he's going to block with a 4/2. He's going to sack to save his DePaula.
And then, Chris is going to take 5. I mean, this seems much weighted in Chris's favor, especially knowing he's got that Avacyn.
Yep. And then he's going to block there. So he actually doesn't take any damage.
I like that block from Chris. That seemed very solid in his favor. I don't know if I agree with blocking the Gideon, but everything else is fine. And another, Bygone Bishop.
So I think now you just leave up, you're just going to leave up your Avacyn.
Well, I think you want to swing the Thraben Inspector and Trafficker at Gideon and get it off the battlefield.
Well, so he's going to block with the Selfless Spirit.
You're fine with that, though. Because the Spirit's what's keeping the DePaula in play.
Right.
Because then you have the Blessed Alliance to take care of the DePaula because he's not going to sack the Gideon. And then if he just gives a 2/2 Knight with the Gideon, the DePaula's gone anyway to the Blessed Alliance.
Now here comes the Declaration Stone. And I think if you're Chris, I think you're fine with this. Yeah, it removes a creature, but now that's not a Declaration Stone that's going to be used on your Avacyn.
Right, and this Avacyn's going to do a lot of work when it comes down to potentially take the game over.
So here comes a Pia.
Now that's a pretty good one to have.
And then Gideon's ticking up. Here comes everything.
So if I'm Chris, I don't worry, I think, about Gideon or DePaula. I think you block the Selfless Spirit here and just
to try to get rid of the Selfless Spirit.
Guarantee the Selfless Spirit off the battlefield.
You definitely care about.
Okay, so no, he's going to force him to sack the Selfless Spirit.
Yep. Because now his stuff's indestructible.
Right.
Right. So he's like, okay, so you lose your DePaula, or you lose your Selfless Spirit.
Right.
You're giving him no choice.
There you go. Selfless Spirit is gone.
Yep.
They just bounce, and Chris is left with a good board.
Right.
Now, the Pia Nalar should have a Thopter in play.
Right.
I'm going to go make sure that gets put on the battlefield.
Yep. And actually, Chris just drew a really great card in the Grasp of Darkness. And he's going to grasp the Pia Nalar. Oh, excuse me, not the Pia Nalar. He's going to grasp the DePaula there. And that just kind of leaves Chris available to attack with the Avacyn here. And we did get the Thopter token out there. He probably just forgot about it. So, Grasp of Darkness took care of DePaula. Avacyn's coming in the red zone. Looks like Troy does have another Selfless Spirit or another Declaration in stone in his hand.
I don't think he wants to block that with that Thopter just yet, because it allows Pia to potentially kill off this Thraben Inspector or something along those lines. It does more damage on the battlefield.
Now there's the Bygone Bishop.
I mean, Chris is just stabilizing this game.
But the Declaration Stone's going to take care of that Avacyn, if that is what I think it is. So it looks like some people in chat know who our players are.
Appreciate you guys watching. Again, this is round 3 of our F&M Standard Tournament. We've got Troy Taylor versus Chris Gorski.
For some reason, Chris Gorski's name jumped off the screen there for a second or two.
Yeah.
But we're getting that fixed right now.
It's just gone. All right.
Okay, so there's the exemplar.
Looks like we got a tick up on Gideon to 7. That's a big Gideon. So when do you think Gideon ults in this game?
So I don't think there's ever a good spot here to actually do it. So this is actually a great block by Chris. So now Thraben Inspector is going to die. So that allows. So it wasn't a Deck and Stone. So now,
here it
now
comes.
Avacyn's going to wipe the board, and then he's going to redirect the 3 damage.
Probably to the Gideon, right?
No, actually.
You can just. I hit Troy in the face here. I don't think you're worried about the Gideon anymore.
Well, no, the Gideon just dies from the Avacyn, right? Because now it's a 7/6.
Right, but I don't think the Gideon swings at the. I don't think the Avacyn swings at the Gideon. Troy's at 15.
But I would have just sent all 3.
I agree. I think the 3 should have gone to Troy, and I think you sting the Avacyn at Troy. But I mean, Chris is playing a safe play here of just getting the Gideon off the battlefield.
What I'm saying is it's a wasted 3 damage.
Oh, I agree. But no, Avacyn is a 6/7, so it would not have killed the Gideon.
Oh, okay. So he had to send it.
Right.
But he also had a Shambling Vent.
Right. So it looks like Troy picked up another copy of Pia Nalar in hand, which is not a bad draw here. It's just, unfortunately, Avacyn is, well, when she's flipped, she's flipped. It's quite the threat. And then if Chris has another Avacyn, he can play that as well, because it's different names.
Right. So Chris is just going to take 4 here.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Troy's just trying to do what he can, get in the red zone. I mean, he knows he can't block the Avacyn. He has to just do what he can here.
Right. I think he was trying to bait maybe the Shambling Vent to turn out. So.
All right. Let's see. So, yep. Chris is going to crack his clue in a turn here.
So that's it's probably the first clue he's actually cracked to draw a clue all night.
Yeah. He's been sacking that Syndicate Trafficker.
And now he has.
It looks like a Blessed Alliance and another Bygone Bishop.
So it looks like we're just going to fire up Shambling Vent here.
And yeah, we're just.
Chris is just. Oh, nope.
It looks like we got 6 coming up top. We're going down to 9 for Troy.
And then here comes. He
well,
wanted to.
We're throwing cards, but here we go. Bygone Bishop joining the battlefield.
Well, now Troy knows about the Stasis Snare, and probably isn't going to attack.
I think he just may concede here knowing about the Stasis Snare. Oh, there's a Selfless Spirit.
That saves you a little bit of damage.
Well,
it actually doesn't do anything.
Well, he can get the Thopter here from the Pia and kill off the Bygone Bishop.
Right. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think I agree with Troy here. Play all your outs, and I mean, you can block the Avacyn with the Thopter.
So now Chris, he's thinking about possibly throwing out the Stasis Snare.
Well, what do you snare on this board, Ryan?
I'd snare the Pia.
I agree. I think the Pia would be the one to snare, and that is what Chris sees as well.
Because he doesn't have enough mana to activate it.
Right.
So he can't use it to kill the Bygone Bishop.
Right.
Bygone Bishops just kind of sit there.
Oh, that's a Grasp of Darkness. That's probably going to take care of the Selfless Spirit.
Right.
And then we're just going to...
So we'll probably go into game 3 here.
Yeah, see how long these guys prolong this one. We'll take it out. I think the Shamling, that's coming in the red zone too.
So does he fire off the... I think you have to fire off...
I think he's
the
fine.
grass
He knows he's well ahead. He just wants to force the blocks and save the grass maybe for something more relevant. Like if I know he's at 16, but like
Right.
Fleet Wheel Cruiser's still a threat.
So it's going to bring him down to 5. And then Chris is going back up to 18.
That's one thing about Selfless Spirit. It is not good by itself.
Yeah, it's kind of lackluster.
Oh, there's a better motor. It's like Troy set up his draws. See if we can get anything.
But
I saw a DePaula and a Copter, I think. Those are really good. If it
but
was, turn
I
3
think
of
the
game.
Selfless Spirit is going to die here due to the Grasp of Darkness. And
I think Troy knows that as well.
like Chris has drawn a lot of cards that aren't removal spells.
Right.
So
Yep, Troy passes
then
it
here
back,
it
and there's
is.
the grass taking care of the Selfless Spirit. And
now he has lethal,
there
and
it
he's
is.
going to
We are
scoop it up.
going to game 3.
So that was a really good game there for Chris and Troy. I think Troy played out to all of his outs that he could possibly have here,
Right.
and did a good job of not scooping prematurely. So
Oh, absolutely. Always play it out, and there's some professional players in Magic that'll never scoop, and you'll see that. They'll be like, it could be 80 power, and they could have absolutely nothing, and they will not concede.
right, because they want to make you swing.
You can mess up. Like, I mean, I've won games before that I shouldn't because my opponent didn't pay for Pact.
Yeah, I've seen that happen quite a bit on camera, just because people forget to pay for their packs a lot.
Well, it's funny if they forget and both players forget, and then like 3 turns pass, and they're like, wait a second.
Did you ever pay for that pack?
And then you got to get a judge involved. It's like, well, at this point,
After 3 turns, there's no way possible you can
because
see.
it's a trigger on the card.
I understand that, but like there is no possible way I would back that up.
Yeah, you can't. You can't back up 3 turns of Magic, and unfortunately, you can't just say, all right, well, you lose. So, unfortunately, it's a missed trigger that worked out in your opponent's favor.
Right. There's no world in this favor that would make me do that. So, Ice Age was not a good set.
Depends who you ask. Had Brainstorm.
And Swords of Plowshares.
It's essentially Miracles. All right, that's confirmed. You heard it here first. Ice Age is Miracles.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
Well, I had Counterbalance, and that's got that's Cold Snap, but
That's
still,
Cold Snap.
that's Snow. Ice Age is Miracles. Confirmed.
Well, I mean, I guess if you count the entire Cold Snap or the Ice Age block, which counts alliances,
Ice Age theme deck reprint cards.
but alliances has.
Force of Will. Yeah, there. I'm telling you. See,
I don't know.
Chat agrees. Chat agrees. Ice Age is confirmed Miracles.
They did have Mountain Goat.
Ice Age is Miracles. I mean, if you ever hear that relation again, remember you heard it on 4 Horsemen Comics and Game Stream for standard Friday Night Magic. Ice Age is technically the reason Miracles is around. So you can blame the snow.
I don't know about technically the reason.
I mean, I'm sure there's angels on that plane.
It's Dominaria.
There's an Adakar Valkyrie. She's an angel from Cold Snap. Maybe we weren't
Do you
treating.
even know where Adakar is?
Maybe we weren't treating her. They got Waste. Adakar Waste is a card. They got Waste and
Do you
Adakar.
even know where Adakar is?
It's somewhere.
It's on the plane of Dominaria.
I knew Dominaria. I just didn't know if that was the right guess. Just tell yourself it was well worth it. Ice Age is confirmed Miracles. I'll get a flow chart or something. We'll make it work. It'll be like a conspiracy.
But they need a top. You have to go to a really bad
Top
set.
is like that artifact you find like in a Skyrim dungeon, and those dungeons are usually in the snow, and that's where like there's dungeons on Adakar. I'm pretty sure.
I mean,
you heard it. I mean, Miracles is literally on
Ice
Adakar.
Age. Ice Age block
Ice
deck.
Age's Miracles, yes.
It's an Ice Age block deck. So you're saying I could play Miracles if I went straight to Ice Age? The Chariot. What Chariot are you talking about?
Yeah, we're curious.
I don't know what that card is.
Invoke some discussion. I'm excited.
I'm sure.
We've already confirmed Ice Age's Miracles.
No, we haven't. Despite what your delusions of grandeur. Also a great Magic card.
It also gave us, what's the one from Cold Snap? The,
Allosaurus Rider?
Allosaurus Rider. That's a fun Magic card. What's the blue one? Confiscate, right? Confiscate?
Maybe.
Lets you exile 2 blue cards and steals a spell or whatever it is.
It's Commandeer.
Commandeer, that's what it
Yeah.
is. That card came out of Cold Snap.
I do like Commandeer.
Alright, looks like we got game
Artifact
3.
Chariot. I don't know
ready
that
to
card.
go. I mean,
I'll look it up here in a second.
I've just single-handedly confirmed that Ice Age is the reason we have Legacy. So, you heard it here first.
No, you're saying that we have it because of...
Oh, it looks like Chris Gorski is on a mull to 5. The cards are just not in Chris's favor tonight. But it looks like he's going to bottom that, and we'll see if he can pull it out. He pulled it out on 6 last game. But Troy Taylor's going to lead off with the well-known Turn 1 Thraben Inspector.
And it's a great start for the Red-White Vehicles deck.
It's like Chris has a Forsaken Sanctuary, and he passed it back.
War
Chariot.
Target creature gains.
I'm on board. That card's great.
But it's a 3-mana activation
That's
cost.
the original vehicle.
It's terrible.
That was Red-White Vehicles in Ice Age block.
That was terrible.
All right, looks like we got a veteran motorist for the follow-up turn 2 play from Troy, and
It feels like
Inspector's
Chris
going in the
or
red
Troy
zone.
just has all these cards in play, and Troy just is gonna steamroll Chris. But I mean, something could happen here.
I do see a Lost Legacy in Chris's hand.
So what do you go take out of their deck for Lost Legacy though? Like
Copters.
go take all the copters.
And maybe like
And-
Flagship if you see it, or I think you take the vehicles out of the vehicle deck.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's the best choice you can do.
So here comes.
No, we don't have a. Looks like we may not have a third.
It looks like
land.
a Grasp of Darkness.
Oh, Grass
Okay.
can take care of that. All
Right.
right.
So pretty good move for Chris there. We don't have a third land for Troy. It looks like actually
That's-
another Thraben
He
Inspector.
I mean, eventually at some point he's probably gonna start cracking his clues. See if he can find one. There's a West Vale for Chris.
So Chris actually may be able to turn
He
the
gets
corner
to
here.
fire off this,
The Marionette Master.
and then follow it up with the Lost Legacy.
Is that the name of the card, Marionette Master?
That sounds like. Yeah, it looks like
I don't.
maybe Inventor. It makes servos, and that's all that matters. But unfortunately, Thraben Inspectors are 1/2s.
But you
'Cause
can.
why not?
But you can send 2 of them to block 1.
You can, but I just don't know if you like that. I think you're at 18. You're on a 9-turn clock.
Well,
You're also 2 creatures away from Westvale Abbey if you can keep finding lands.
right. I think actually Chris has a lot of lands in his hand.
So Westvale may be a potential plan here for him.
Right. So it looks like Troy's trying to decide between Selfless Spirit and maybe a Toolcraft Exemplar.
Yeah, so you're definitely not blocking now.
Right.
But it is kind of funny.
So there is another Westville Abbey.
Well, actually, no, I take that back. I block one of these Thraben Inspectors and force him to crack that spear. See if he misplays and gets it off the board.
He's just gonna let it happen. So, actually, I think Chris is on the Westville Abbey.
I think
Plan.
so too. If he has another Fabricate guy here, and a 5th land and 6th land,
He does. He has another Westville Abbey and the Swamp in his hand.
there's a Bygone Bishop. So I'm saying if Chris can play out the enough creatures and hit his lands on time,
Right. So here's the Bygone Bishop.
Ormondal will maybe make an appearance on the battlefield.
Yep. So here we go. Now Chris is at 4 creatures. So
Looks like Troy's got a Fleet Wheel Cruiser in hand,
still has that Lost Legacy.
and looks like that's a Deccan Stone. That's probably going to take care of the Bygone Bishop if I had to guess, but I don't know if he wants to give
Chris
a
more
draw
cards.
step. Yeah, it's tough. It is, though. It's
So
going to take
he's-
care of the Bygone Bishop.
Why not get rid of the Servitors? It doesn't give him any clues.
It doesn't give him any clues, and it gets rid of both of them. I do agree that maybe the Servo was the better touch there.
Right. So now he's coming in for 3.
I think he wanted to see if that Spirit could just get in the red zone. Because I think Bygone flies.
Right. So Chris goes down to 12. Looks like we missed a point of damage. That happens occasionally.
All right, let's see what we got for Mr. Blessed Alliance. All right.
So that's a plus. So he has another land in hand. He has another Westville Abbey.
So he can play that down.
So he has access to play Lost Legacy and the Blessed Alliance out of his hand.
Servos are turning sideways.
Turning sideways. Attack with the 0-1 just to send a message.
I would too. You want to make it known that you know what you're doing. So we got Lost Legacy and Blessed Alliance in hand.
So Chris may be on the I'm going to...
Well, I mean, he can draw off the clue.
Well, so he's... But I think what he's going to do, he may gain 4 life and make his opponent sack a creature.
That's not terrible either. So let's see what happens. Yep,
right?
that's what's going to happen.
So, Blessed Alliance, sacrifice a creature, I gain 4 life. I don't know what the other mode actually does.
The other one's not relevant.
You're right. It's not. So, basically, Gorski is going to basically net 1 life here.
Going up to 13.
Off that attack. Yeah, so that was very beneficial to Chris. So Chris actually...
Oh, and a Zulaport Cutthroat for the draw. All right, we're living the Westville Abbey dream now. If we can find that 6th land.
So he's probably just... Okay, so he's cracking the clue. I think he wants to find another land. Okay, Cutthroat.
That's fine. I'll take a second Cutthroat. You got your 5 creatures, because that's, what, 10 damage if he gets 1 more land?
Right.
Yeah, so next turn, all you need is, doesn't matter what land, get the land drop, play the other Cutthroat, win the game, because you go drain you for 10, Ormondal in the air.
Right. So here's a Cutthroat.
I don't know if I've made it clear how excited I want to see Ormondal come to this battlefield.
I think we're up there on what we... Of you wanting to see that.
I'm ready to go. I hope this
All right,
guy
so
makes
here we go. Here comes a Fleetwheel Cruiser, probably.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Can you?
Yep, here comes the Cruiser.
All right. It's getting there.
All right, so now what do? Do you just block with
I think
the
I
0-1?
take it all. I think I take it all and not worry, because I want to make sure I have my 5 creatures for Westville
Well, this is
Abbey.
an attack for 8.
Oh, well, that's a little more extreme. Maybe you do have to chump the Fleetwheel Cruiser here.
I think so, too. Or is Chris just going to take it?
He could just take it. I mean, the thing about Zulaport, he can leave up all his creatures next turn and just gain a lot of life.
Right. So he'll have access to... So
I actually like just taking it.
I think
go down to 5.
I think you're right. I think that's the correct answer. And then you don't swing in. You just kind of stay back.
I mean, if he finds a 6th land and it's also untapped, he can cast a Cutthroat and the Lost Legacy and just try to get any threats out of the way, too.
Well, he doesn't need to find a 6th land. Lost Legacy only costs 3.
No, sorry. For that, I mean, in order to have the Westville set up for the following turn. But it looks like he found a Thraben Inspector, and that's just as fine. That's going to get him a clue. He'll be able to play the Zulaport Cutthroat and be able to draw into turn to try to find this land.
Exactly. So he's going to play this other Cutthroat.
And he is officially stabilized, and we're going to see if we can get an Ormondal in play. So now every creature that dies, Troy's taking 2, and Chris is gaining 3.
Yeah.
I'm gaining 2, sorry.
So he's going to pass it back. As long as it's not a deck and stone on the Zulaport Cutthroats, this may be it.
That's another Selfless Spirit. Looks like he has another Fleetwheel Cruiser in hand.
That looks like there is another declaration in stone in Troy's hand
for
the Cutthroats. Yeah.
Yeah, it is going to target the Cutthroats.
There's not a sack outlet, unfortunately.
There is not.
So that's going to
put a little damper on things, but Chris is still alive because Troy cannot really play any other cards except for this other Selfless Spirit.
Yep. And then he's just going to... So he's going to man the vehicle. I think it costs 3 to man the vehicle, though, right?
No, it's probably 2 because these vehicles are not unfair. I think you throw a Servo and the Thraben Inspector in front of his Thraben Inspector, and then use the other Servos to jump block the Fleetwheel Cruiser. Unfortunately, this is what you're going to have to do eventually when it comes down to it.
Right. Chris was so close to being able to just pull this out on
the deck and stone was so close to being
on a mold of 5 as well. So it looks like he's going to triple block the Fleetwheel Cruiser. Yep.
Wants to get that thing off the board.
Right.
I mean, you're walking into a Selfless Spirit, though.
Yeah, exactly. And Chris knows this.
Yeah.
So I think Chris is going to lose his board. That's fine.
Yeah.
And he is on the I don't even know what plan that is now. Like
Maybe top deck a Fumigate that you can't cast. Maybe draw White Source. Top deck Fumigate.
that's a possibility. So Chris is down to 2.
Well, there's the land that we needed. But I don't think we're going to find the cards that we need.
Yeah, that's second. So Chris is going to try to find another something.
Oh, there's a
Grasp. It doesn't save him, unfortunately,
No.
because there's still 3 power on the board. You have to get rid of that Selfless Spirit. Well, actually, if he just kills the Selfless Spirit here, as long as Troy doesn't have another creature in his hand,
That's actually true. I think you kill the spirit. Go ahead and take it out and just play your outs.
Yep. So here we go.
Oh, you can't let him pass, though.
Well, so now Troy actually has to use the Selfless Spirit in order to crew the vehicle, right?
Right. That looked like a flagship.
Oh,
no, that's another one.
that's another cruiser. Well,
That's not fun. Yep, that's gonna do it.
that's it. All right,
Troy
guys.
Taylor is your
Troy,
F&M winner tonight at 4 Horsemen.
he gets to the record of 3-0. Now, that could be the actual record, or they may have
Drawn ahead of time.
But
We'll never know.
we won't know that. Basically, because we do prize payout tickets here at 4 Horsemen, where we give prize wall tickets to the players, and you get a little bit more because it's based off of record. If you draw, instead of
Right.
going X
We
and
don't
1.
encourage, like, it's not really the drawings encouraged, but, like, it's like, it's set up to where if a player wants to play for the win, they're greatly rewarded for doing so.
Right. So right now we were gonna go take a
I'm good.
break, and we're gonna go try to find